Well, let's open the next file. File, open. And we'll open the correlation file. Now, not many people use correlation charts, but they come in great when you need to see if there's a relationship between two different variables. Here I have a chart showing latitude and January temperature. You would think that these would be related. Choose the data from B1 to C13. Let's go to the Insert tab and open the Scatter dropdown. Now we have choices here whether or not we want to connect these points with lines, but really I just want to show the points. So choose the first choice. What we're looking for here is we're looking for all the points to line up in one direction or the other. In this case, we have a negative correlation. As the latitude increases, the temperature decreases. This is really what we would expect. Now there's a few options in scatter charts. One of my favorite options is where Excel does the least squares fit and draws the line in, and we can get to that using the Charts Layout Gallery in the Design ribbon. We have a couple of different options that have that line. The right thumbnail in the top row adds the line without an equation. The right thumbnail in the third row adds a line with an equation. Let's try it without. There's the line. Let's try it with. I'll open the gallery and use the one in the third row. And here you'll see that Excel actually draws in the mathematical equation for the line in the form of y equals mx plus b, and it shows r squared. Now, I'm really sorry. I understand that all that statistics stuff, that should stay in high school, and I'm really sorry to bring back those memories of statistics class. Let's move on to the next worksheet. A bubble chart is an XY chart where we add a third component. So here we plot a point at an X location, a Y location, but the size of the point is the third series. We'll select our data from A1 through C15. On the Insert tab, go to Other Charts, and then choose the first bubble chart. We need to make this chart as large as possible, so move it to the top left corner of your screen, drag out, and remove the legend. Even at that, there's too many points that are too large to really get a sense of exactly how the low mileage recent cars are priced. But still, as you move out in the chart, you can start to see how prices decrease both with age and mileage. Now let's see if we can adjust this. Right-click a bubble and choose Format Data Series. The size column can represent either the area of the bubbles or the width of the bubbles. It's best and most accurate to use area of the bubbles. But let's scale the bubble size down from 100 to 20. Click Close. There we go. Now we can actually see the detail of the bubbles throughout the chart. Let's move on to the frequency worksheet. A frequency chart is where we have many different categories and want to see the population in each category. I'll click in cell A1 and using the Shift key, End, Down, and the right arrow key, I'll select my entire data set. Now there's nothing special about a frequency chart. It's really just a column chart where we jam the columns together. Choose Insert, Column, 2D Column, and then from the chart layouts, choose Layout 8. There you go. That's a simple frequency chart. Now there's one other type of chart that you might run into, and this requires a fairly sophisticated Excel function. This is where I've done 3,000 scientific trials, and I've measured the result at each trial. I want to try and plot this data, and there's really no good way to do it. If I try and put all 3,000 points on a chart, it would never, ever work. The process here is called putting our data into bins. I know that my results varied anywhere from 0 up to about 103. I need to see how many results show up in each bin. Now I've chosen a bin size of 15, so I'm basically asking Excel to tell me how many records fall between 0 and 15, 15 and 30, 30 and 45. This formula is one of those special kinds of formulas that actually returns many values. Those are called array formulas. We need to select from cell E2 down through our bin sizes plus one extra cell. You always need to select an extra cell in case there's any values that are outside of the range you expect. We'll type equal frequency and hit the open parenthesis. Excel is asking for our data array. That's the 3,000 results starting in B2. I'll click in B2, hold down the Shift key while I hit End Down. I'm going to hit F4 to make that an absolute reference and type my comma. Next, the bins array. That's the array in column D. So I'll select from D2 down to D9. Again, hit F4 to make that absolute, closing parentheses, and because I want Excel to bring me back more than one value, I'll use Control-Shift-Enter. Perfect. Now for each bin, I understand exactly how many values there were. It's a little bit confusing because the 0 bin is all the values less than 0. The 15 bin is all the values from 0 to 15. It would be good if I inserted a new column, so I'll use Insert, Insert Sheet Columns, and actually create some intelligent labels for my chart. For example, in E3, I might use a label of 0 to 15. I'm going to put an apostrophe before that text so Excel doesn't think I'm creating a formula. And I'll fill in the rest of the values down the column. We'll select our range of data from E3 through F9. You notice I'm going to ignore the zeros at both ends, and we'll use Insert, Column, 2D Column, Clustered Column. There we have a great view of exactly how many of our trials ended up in each bin. 45 to 60 was the largest, but it's interesting to know that there were some people at 0 to 15 and 90 to 105. The distribution chart is one of the toughest things to chart, and that's because you have to be able to split things up into bins using the fairly difficult frequency function. Okay, we'll close this file.